All right, we are live. The topic today is near-term human extinction. People apparently, it's a thing. People are talking about it. Some people whose opinions on relevant topics I respect. So here I am trying to weigh in on that. And so promising a yes or no answer. And I can do that. So to alleviate any anxiety, doing my part for mental health and well-being, and answer you in the near definitive on regarding the question of near-term human extinction, and the answer is no. Don't forget to leave a like, and if you enjoy the kind of content and you get notifications, hit the subscribe and also the icon. And I do these videos whenever I feel like it. Lower your expectations. So that's the TLDR version. Let's talk about it a little bit, shall we? I've given a lot of thought to this topic. I'm a biologist. I just have background. I'm a what do you call it? Ecosystem, I guess, best word for it still. I don't think that word is used anymore. I'm an ecosystem biologist. I'm a systems biologist, and I'm a systems. I do a lot of things on the systems level. I'm an engineer, and I think in terms of larger systems. I don't anyway. So the matter of near-term human extinction has been on the radar off and on for thousands of years. Every civilization has this version of the sky is falling, end times are near, yada yada yada. There are of course all these millennial cults. The close reading of the Bible has convinced people that the doom is right on the corner, and that's not what I'm talking here. And in this, that's not what the people I follow talking about either. I did see something. I didn't really follow it closely, but I think it was an article I was reading, or just got into a little bit about millennial thinking and how the dominance of Christian philosophy has kind of permeated Western civilization with a sort of anticipatory vibe about the end is coming, and it doesn't take much to set people off. So part of what's probably happening right now in the blogosphere and the vlogosphere is that people are tapping into their latent Christian tendencies, and they're seeing that the end is nigh and there's nothing we can do, and Gabriel shall blow the trumpet, some other things. And so I'm not real vulnerable to that. That's my thing. I think it's interesting. I people when they talk like that, because it gives me insights to how people think, value, but not my thing. And when I say the risk of near-term human extinction is none, there is no risk. Okay, I'm not saying that because I'm an atheist, although I am. I'm not saying that because I don't adopt Christian mindset. I'm saying it because I don't believe it. I just don't. I just think you can do that to people in this game. Okay. Everything else goes extinct before we do. And you can say, well, that might be true, but as soon as everything is extinct, then what's our, how do we live? How do we eat? Where does our garments come from? Who's going to pollinate our flowers, and so on and so forth? And yeah, okay, fine. You can have that argument. It's a bit out in the weeds a little bit. It's like, well, we're just noodling this blue sky, and we really don't know what the threshold is for human population to collapse because the environment collapses. I'm a systems biologist, and I'll tell you something about ecosystems. Humans are not part of the whole ecosystem. Well, yes, we are. We're very dependent. No, we're not. We're not. We have a completely artificial habitat that is entirely supported by access to abundant, cheap, essentially fossil fuels. We don't need the planet. We need materials. We need iron, and we need ores of different kind from the ground. We need lithium. We need falling water to generate electricity. We need solar panels and wind farms, and we need fossil fuels to make all those things. And we need electric cars and and driving and flying and moving goods and Amazon Prime. And that's what we need. That's essentially true. That is just true. Well, first, okay, I always distinction. I generally do late. That is the narrative for the comfortable Western civilization part of the people of the planet. But this is not a video about being comfortable. This is not a video about floating oats. This is not a video about economic and environmental justice. This is not a video even about extinction of non-human species. I could talk about those things. Those are interesting topics, but that's what I'm not talking about here. I'm talking about near-term human extinction. No, think something else. I got a lot for you to think about if you've been watching my videos. I have a lot of shit for you to deal with, okay? That is not one of them. You want to worry about the extinction of all the other animals on the planet? Okay, well, you can't do anything about that. You want to worry about humans being too dependent on artificial habitat to survive? Yeah, but you can't do about that either. We're not here to talk about what you do and what you should be concerned about and where you have a personal responsibility. We're here to talk about the tension people are making that humans are going to go extinct because of global heating or climate change or a combination of the two or some other thing they haven't even thought about. Generally not a meteor. Okay, there was a movie made about that. Don't look up. Well, it was about a meteor. And spoiler alert: not everybody died. Even in the movie, that was about that. So, how do I get off saying no and just definitely saying no? And what does that mean for what we're supposed to be doing? I'll start with the latter first. You can't appeal to people on the ocean that they are going to go that they're going to or that they're going to go because they just don't buy it, and they don't buy it for the same I'm just about to explain. Death is never a personal thing. It's always the other guy. The other guy is going to die. You're not going to die. The other guy going down the road at 100 miles an hour too fast on the freeway. He's doing something stupid. You are in control. He's going to die, and you're not going to die. He they'll do him a favor by catching him and dragging him out and throwing him in jail and make a big ticket. But you know what you're doing. You can go 100 miles down the road, and it's just fine. And they should leave you alone. And that people aren't. Can happen to me. Has happened to everybody else. Well, I am somewhat here today to explore that, to explore what really happens. And at the end, I can rest assured you are shaking in your boots that humans are going to go extinct in the near term, meaning in 10 million years, which is about how long species last, if that long, maybe 1 million years. In less than that amount of time, and you're shaking your boots while you can relax. Go fix yourself a chamomile tea or something because our work is done. There are a couple of reasons why human really can't go extinct on this planet. My favorite mechanism why humans can't really extinct is what I like to call the argument from numbers. And you'll say, "Oh, I see. There are so many people that can't go extinct." Yeah, that's right. You got that right. Let me explain. So, like I said, this planet had many extinctions. We're into the 6th mass extinction right now. When my wife and I ever bring this up or talk about this, I say, yeah, the 6th mass extinction of life on Earth. You're going to your lifetime. We're in our mid 60s. In your lifetime, we are going to lose to extinction every animal you can name. I mean, every animal that David Attenborough ever did a documentary on, that Jacques Cousteau ever swam in the sea with, that you ever learned about in your K-12 education, that you ever saw at the zoo. I'm just going to turn this off. If you're not going to lose your urban vermin. You're not going to lose your squirrels, your possums, raccoons, pigeons, uh, stray dogs, stray cats, pets. Those will be fine because they have associated themselves with us, and where we go, they go, and we aren't going anywhere. Right? So that's the sixth mass extinction. The sixth mass extinction. The one there have been that most people know about. I think the most famous one most people have heard of is the extinction of the dinosaurs. Okay, so that was the That was the KT extinction, the Cretaceous extinction. That was famous meteor. That's as we know, that's the best science on the map right now. It was a long time ago. It's hard to come up with science, but they came up with that. They found evidence for a meteor impact on the Earth, and when they did calculations and how big the meteor was, and where it hit, and how much of the Earth seemed disturbed by it, they figured out that event probably correlates in a positive way with the extinction of the dinosaurs. They did go extinct at a certain period, and there was this meteor impact at about the same time. And so, even if the dinosaurs sort of already on the way out, which is one theory, that appeared to put the most amount of in their coffins. So that was their event. There have been other extinction events. I don't think any of the others were ever meteors. Doesn't mean that meteors don't hit Earth and cause problems. They do, but most of the other ones, things like the extinctions associated with the PETM, Paleoeocene thermal maximum, are associated like things like volcanoes or lava outlings, which are not volcanoes. You can open a crack in the earth and the lava comes out. And where this happens, you get the evolution of a lot of CO2 and methane and water vapor, and the earth heat up, and the resulting change in climate can cause significant extinction. So we've had meteor impacts, we've had major volcanic activity, and these can be associated with extinction events in the past. The sixth mass extinction is associated with activity. No price there. A lot of people project that humans might destroy a good part of life on Earth, generally not deliberately, but just through habitat loss, repurposing habitat that organisms are found in locally, and if that's the only population of that organism, then that organism is gone. Right? Maybe you didn't even know. Maybe you didn't even know that was the only population. You also have local extinctions, which are called extirpations. That's a local extinction. So maybe gray wolves were found in California. Now they're not. Okay, so gray wolves are extinct in California. But you can still find them in Montana and Canada and whatnot. So that's an extirpation. Now, if you get enough local extirpations and you cover all the habitat range of an organism, within the last extirpation, the last group of organisms from the last piece of habitat that they could occupy is an extinction event. So you work your way into extinction events, and then finally there's an event that just destroys the species. So in the sixth mass extinction, we are both extirpating locally and globally exterminating species all over the planet. We're doing that on accident. It doesn't matter doing that. The meteor that extincted the sort of didn't do it on purpose, right? Just a big chunk of rock. Didn't have any thoughts on the matter at all. We are like the meteor. We don't have any thoughts on the matter. So it's going around the planet, happily enriching ourselves and building condominiums and making swamps and building extending airport runways and blah. And we're just killing life on the planet. We're also killing through our chemicals, plastics, things like that. So yeah, it's looking ugly for the planet Earth. Does any of that equate to human extinction? I don't think so. Let me discuss that. I have to put my glasses on because I have some notes here. So the human population, this is the numerical justification for why humans can really go extinct. There are 8,000 million humans. 8 billion is 8,000 million. Put another way, it's 8 million thousand. But certainly 8,000 million people. 8,000 million people. That's a lot of people. The population of the planet used to be around 200, maybe 250 most million people, right? Right. And now we're 8,000 million. That really should be alarming to most people when you realize that we've gone from, say, 200 million to 8,000 million. Aren't there going to be associated with that? How do you do that? Can you keep that up? Have you done anything on a one-time basis for that, and you really can't sustain that? Yeah, probably. So because humans have been on the planet for 200,000 years, and we reached 8,000 million. So something has happened that we did that recent. By recent, I mean in the last 100 years or so, we finally, in the year 1700, the estimate was that there was about 400 million people on the planet in 1700, and most of the increase from then has been, in the last 100 years. Um, so there's a thing. We did that. There's a lot of people on the planet. People running around saying that number 8,000 million is going to go to 0 million, and numerically, that's going to be really hard to pull off. People, you think, oh well, global nuclear war, that would destroy all the people on Earth. No, not even close. Not even close. It's were done back in the day where that a global exchange of nuclear weapons between Russia and the U.S. Would kill 360 million people instantly. That's a lot of people. Wow, 360 million people, a lot of people. That's like the population of the world back in 1700. But that's not everyone. That is not 8,000 million people. A total a exchange of nuclear weapons between the largest nuclear powers, and every weapon fired at every city and every country all at the same time would be 360 million people dead. Worst case scenario, let's say that a nuclear destroyed everything associated with modern civilization, modern agriculture, electricity, fresh water delivered homes, the healthcare system. People couldn't get treatments. Everything was destroyed. Okay, then they say, well, that could even result in 5 million people. So on top of the 360, so let's just round to 6 people. I may have said that wrong. 6 billion people, right? So let's round up to 6 billion people. That's a 75% die-off from a global nuclear exchange. The most horrific thing that most people can even contemplate only gets you a 75% kill rate, and that's the extended version of 60 million would die immediately, and another 5,000 million would die because of other things that happen afterwards. So we don't even know that would be. Yeah, that's one data point, and that's not extinct. That's not 100%, only 75%. I'm not saying that life would be wonderful and that people would be dancing in the streets, have their best life, but that we would not be extinct. We're just talking numbers here. It would be stupid. It would be self-defeating, but people would not be extinct. Humans would not be extinct in this world. They might wish they were, and you could either the dead or the lucky, but it doesn't matter. The numbers are 0. The number is 0. Another data point we have was the death that struck Europe several times, actually, starting in like the Middle Ages and periodic right up until the Renaissance. The Black Death was a bacterium, and it traveled on rats, and it was transmitted to humans through bites, and the death rate for some versions of Black Death approached 100%. So if you got the bite and you started to show symptoms, the reality was you were going to die. There were no survivors of these versions of this. Entire villages, there's historic records. Entire villages were wiped out, and even towns were wiped completely. Everyone died, and those places never repopulated for whatever reason. There just weren't enough people in the landscape to repop towns. They just didn't need the space. So estimates are from anywhere from 30% of the population of Europe up to 50%. But that was Europe. That was Africa. That was South America. That wasn't America. That wasn't Asia. That was just Europe. And and it wasn't even though the fatality rate was close to 100% in many cases, that was still only 50% of Europe. That was not an extinction event. So that was a lot of people dying. It was really horrendous. Those areas were culturally scarred for generations. But it wasn't 100%. Not even close. 50% is not even close to 100%. 100% is a number. And these events, including global nuclear war, don't get to 100% extinct. So you have to ask yourself, we have 8,000 million people today. What does an extinction event entail? Something worse than the Black Death, apparently, and something less imaginable than global nuclear war. So what would it be? So I don't know. Someone's going to have to explain this to me. Yeah, yes, we're destroying habitat. Yes, we are destroying the systems that other animals depend on. We're not the systems we depend on, because we don't depend on those systems. We depend on artificial habitat. Like we've built ourselves a zoo. We're living in it. We're walls, and we eat every day and water every day. Someone gives us a shot, and we're living in a zoo of creation. What we're doing. The rationale for human extinction is that yes, we are on an artificial habitat, and that's a problem. And you look at that artificial habitat, you have to ask yourself, so what happens can't be sustained. If you're a tiger lives in a zoo, you're having your best life. Someone brings you food, you don't have to hunt. Sometimes people look at you, and the children scream and holler, and you have to put up with that. But you're living in a zoo. They're giving you your food, your water. They're protecting you from any kind of danger. And if you give you the vet comes, gives you a jab, and you're a good life in the zoo. And it works for you as a tiger living in a zoo, so long as there's someone bring you your food and your water and take care of you. And if something happens, like for example, you're a zoo in Ukraine and the Russians invade Ukraine, and the zookeepers leave the zoo, and now you're a tiger in a zoo with no handlers. Well, then you've got a problem, right? Now you got a problem. Who's giving you your water and your food and all that? So the argument is that humans are in the situation. We live in an artificial habitat of our own making, like a zoo, which we put ourselves because we like the food, the water, we like the protection, we like not having to deal with anything on the outside. And and we get sick, someone comes along, gives us a pill, right? So we don't mind living in the zoo, but it has to be maintained. And how is it built? How is it maintained? Who is maintaining? Who is it that brings your food and your water? How it come to you? You're not hunting it. You can't see the herds out there on the Sarin that you're going to go pull your next meal. There's nothing of the kind, and that situation for most of us, there is a risk here. But again, extinction is 100% mortality, 100%, and whatever. No, that just isn't going to happen. Let me give some numbers here. This is a fun example. If we had an extinction event as we did with the dinosaurs, not we. The planet suffered during the time of the dinosaurs, and a giant meteor came and destroyed the same number of species, same number of humans now as the number of species that were extinct at that time. That would be a 70% reduction in the humankind. Okay, because that was weaponed with that meteor here. 70% of a species went extinct. So let's say 70% go extinct. That still leaves 24 2,400 million humans. So a meteor, if it extinct 70% of humans, still would leave 2,400 million humans. That's a dinosaur level extinction event. The Great Dying, which was an extinction event a lot further back in time, before there was really even dinosaurs. I don't think the dinosaurs were around at all. Probably the Great Dying, as it was called, made room for the dinosaurs. That was a 90% extinction rate. If humans suffer a 90% mortality, 90% die off, that would leave 800 million humans. 800 million. That's more than twice the population of the U.S. 800 million humans. That's a 90% die off. If you own $1 million house, which in my hood is not out of the question at all. If you own $1 million house and you lost 90% of the value of your house would be worth $100,000. That's a major impact on the value of your home. You went from $1 million home valuation to $100,000 home valuation. There haven't been $100,000 homes in my neighborhood for probably 50 years. So, but you have to ask yourself, yeah, okay, well, that's, my goodness, that would be terrible. But what event would it take to cause a 90% reduction in home values over the entire city all at once? What would it be? A massive global economic collapse of the banking sector? Or, once again, a massive die-off. If there are no people buying home and there's no money in circulation, then your home was worth nothing, except the fact you could live in it, right? So, it's hard to imagine what it would take for that to happen. And yet, 90,000, a 90% die-off of the human species still leaves 800 million people. A 90% die-off of the human species, 99% is pretty close to 100. 99% die-off of anything be an extirpation event at least. They 90% die off of all the African elephants would leave a herd of elephants, probably, or maybe 2 or 3 herds scattered all over Africa, and the elephants would be virtually extinct. That still leaves 80 million humans. That's twice the population of California. 80 million humans. A 99% die-off leaves 80 million. That is not zero. 80 million is zero. That is not an extinction event. A 99% die-off of humans is not an event. Not close. We are so numerous that losing 99 of us leaves an enormous population of humans. I don't think there's 80 million of anything on this planet other than ants. If you look at animals our size, with our footprint on the habitat, with our requirements for food, water, there isn't 80 million of anything except humans. And that 80 million after a 99% die-off of humans. And 99% is close to 100. Let's get even closer to 100. 99.9%. That's about as close to 100 as you're going to get without 100%. 99.9% die-off of humans leaves 8 million humans. 8 million. That's a lot of people. That is not zero. That's not even close to zero. There isn't anything on this planet except squirrels. Okay? A 99.99% die-off. 49 leaves 800,000 people. That's the population of a large city in California. Large city. Not zero. 99.99% die-off of humans leaves 800,000 humans. Now you could say, oh, that's fine. That is people. That's a good sized city in just about any country. That's a sizable city. But the problem is those 800,000 people are scattered all over the planet, right? You said that most people, 99.99% just were killed somehow. Not thermonuclear war, because that won't do it. Not the Black Death, that won't do it either. So how is this even happening? I don't know, but we're talking numbers here. And you say, okay, 800,000 people scattered all over the planet. Geez, are these breeding populations? Is there enough people in a group to continue reproduction? If you had 800 of humans, then on average, those 800 collections scattered over the planet would be 1,000 humans. So what kind of an event would it be that would even get us to 800,000 and then would leave a few collections, viable population of humans that we would go. There's nothing. I can't have anything. I can't think of a single solitary thing. Even Hollywood with the zombie apocalypses, whatnot, they can't come up with numbers like this. Four nines, a 99.99% die off of it, leave 800,000 humans. Not extinction. The number is not zero, not even close. We'd be if we had 800,000 African elephants. We'd be thrilled if there was 800,000 white sharks. Okay, these are numbers that would be virtuous for other species, and yet for us, that's a 99.99% die off. How do you even get to that? 59, 99.9999 die off was 80,000. Now that's a small number. That is a small number. And again, if it's scattered around the planet because whatever hit us, whatever it was, the meteor or the climate change or the nuclear war or Black Death or all four at the same time, right, got us down to 80,000 people in the planet, and they were scattered all over the planet because it was a random thing. Well, then maybe you have too many surviving viable groups of humans at that point. But that's five nines. That's a 99.999% die-off. How? How does that even happen? Tell me the scenario. How did that even happen? That does not happen. Humans went. It's been calculated based on genetic databases that humans went through what's called a genetic bottleneck. A genetic bottleneck is where the number of breeding pairs of an organism becomes so few that it's basically like a family. There are so breeding pairs that you're down to tribal sizes, and human went through a genetic bottleneck where the entire footprint of humans on Earth may have been few as a few thousand individuals, and probably more than about 10,000. So genetic bottlenecks are a deal. Cheetahs, all cheetahs in Africa are essentially identical. They're clones of each. And then why they're clones is that the entire species probably was decimated down to a point. It was like maybe a breeding pair, a pair. And their offspring, the basis for the entire rebuilding of that population. So they're all identical. And there hasn't been a time, apparently, for genetic drift to allow them to diversify. So cheetahs in Africa went through some sort of a massive bottleneck and came back to a measurable population that isn't really endangered at this point, but they're all close to each other. There's just no genetic variation of any kind. Now, eventually, given a million years, genetic variation will be soak back the population, and you'll have cheetahs of different kinds, and you can point to this species of cheetah over here and species of cheetah over there. But that takes a long time. Despite the fact that through a genetic bottleneck, they came back and they're doing fine. And humans went through a genetic bottleneck some about 70 or 90,000 years ago, not that long ago. We were still a young species. I'm just talking humans. Okay, we've been around 200,000 years. And so about halfway through our evolution arc, we went through a genetic bottleneck. How that happened? Don't know. Where did that happen? Don't know. Who came out of it? Don't know. Well, we did. We came out of it. And it was long enough ago, 70,000 years ago. It was long enough ago that there's been some opportunity for genetic variation to seep into the population. But that was 2,000 individuals, and that was not an extinction event. That wasn't even really that interesting, because we're still from 2,000 to maybe 10,000 individuals. From that, you get 8,000 million, and we are the smartest creatures on the planet. Worms, we didn't survive because no one cared about us. We're the smartest creature on the planet. We're dominant. We dominate all the other populations. We came back from our genetic bottleneck screaming and clawing, and now we're dominating the planet 70,000 years later. And everything else is going extinct. So humans are, I don't know how to say this on a night. Humans are bastards. We are survivors. Go look at your Hollywood zombie movies and go look at your World War II movies. Look at your survivor movies. And, they're depicting humans being what humans probably are. I mean, it's a fictional account. What they're doing. They're just drawing off of observations of human behavior. Yeah, we're bastards. Yeah, we don't give any shits about anything. It's just survival. Nothing personal. I'm going to kill you and eat you, and it has nothing to do with anything. It's just doing what I gotta do. And we came clawing back from as few as 2,000, a few thousand individuals. We came clawing back to this. All this came from that 70,000 years ago. We are hard to kill. We are very hard to kill. And I got down to 5 nines extinction, 99.99% die off, and we're still at 80,000 people. Not even an interesting number. Not interesting. Even a threat. It is to laugh. 80,000 were extinct. Well, no. Sorry, nothing. There's nothing there. 6 nines extinction event. 99.999% die off. Finally gets us down to 8,000 people. 8,000 people. Not 8,000 million, where we started. 8,000. And maybe, possibly, that's a problem for you. Maybe, I don't know. Seems like it's not. We've been there before, and we got all this. This is now going on after going through a extinction event down to 8,000 or less. Okay, and then we're back. We came from that. Now we're doing all this, flying and driving and moving goods and financialization and YouTube and the internet and all this other stuff. We came back from almost nothing to all this in 73,000 years. 8,000 is that? That's nothing. 8,000 individuals left of 8,000 million. That's nothing. No, we're not going extinct. We're not going extinct for a long time. I'll tell you what drives humans to extinction. The sun in its death throes, expanding in size to consume all the internets almost to the consume. They end up under the photosphere of the sun. Mercury gets inside the sun. Venus inside the sun. The Earth maybe inside the sun, and if not, certainly very close to the surface of the sun. Then all life on Earth is extincted. Probably. When's that going to happen? I don't know. 10 billion years from now? No, we're not going anywhere, folks. This talk that I keep hearing that global change is going to cause human extinction, it doesn't hold water. I can't even, clever as I am, I can't even think about it other than what I described happening with the sun a billion years from now. I can't even put a scenario where humans are even close to extinction level event. What difference does that make? Okay, so some people are okay, fine. Some people are hyperventilating, and they've estimated how dire this situation is, and there's no chance of human extinction. When we're bastards, and we're going to claw ourselves back from any prejudice, and we'll be fine. Okay, we'll be fine. That's just the question of extinction. That's a topic. Extinction, near-term human extinction. What is it going to be in the next 5 years, 10 years, 30 years, 50 years? Almost doesn't matter. It's practically a lifetime, even at 60, 65. Okay. But there is something that could happen that I think is guaranteed to happen. That is not near-term human extinct. Not even close. And I've already mentioned it. A 90% off of humans would be a massive clusterfuck. A 99% die off humans would be unapproachable. How could you even think about it? How could you in conscience kind of an event? And this is like remember this is like a meteor strike, Black Death, and a nuclear war happening all at once. Okay, and the problem. Well, global human extinction is a non-thing. It is a nothing. It is a impractical analysis, not worth discussing. While that is worth discussing, 99% die off of humanity is practically inevitable. Practically inevitable. Certainly 90%, or somewhere between the two. We could easily get something like the Great Dying. Great Dying, which was the Permian Eocene extinction event, was 90%. We could easily get that here. We could easily get that. We could get a great dying of the human species. And who signed up for that? Did you sign up for that? I did. And I'm here to tell you, you're likely to get that. Likely. I don't talk about bloviating and ventilating about near-term human extinction risks and how it'll be so bad when we're extinct, and let's all do drugs and whatever you're supposed to do about that. I want you to understand, 90%, even a 99% off of the human species is in the offing. It's on the way. It's on the way. It is virtually inescapable. It is not extinction. It is, if anything, worse, because we are signed up for this. Every single day, we are contributing to that event. Allow me to explain. I've already mentioned this. Back in the year 1700, there was estimated, according to census figures and population analysis, up to about 400 million people on Earth. That was already a fairly significant increase by the year 1700, above where human population levels had been bouncing around for a long time. How to figure these things, I don't know. Actually, there are civilizations that were actually doing censuses. Where are the people? Who's going to pay taxes? Where do we need more infrastructure? The Chinese did this. The Mesopotamians did this. The Egyptians did this. There were a lot of ancient peoples who were counting heads. They were counting people. And they have good reasons for doing that. And to have decent numbers back, 8,000 years. And during the 10,000 years we're talking about, the population of Earth for human varies between 200 million and 250 million. And the reason why that's important is because that was a pristine planet. We even explored of it at that point. Well, there were people living almost everywhere, but nobody was deliberately exploring the planet to exit it. They weren't tearing down the tops of mountains and digging up the bottom of the sea, and they weren't doing these things. They were, people were lived. There wasn't much transportation. There wasn't much travel, and they lived within their immediate neighborhood. With the rain that fell, with the land they had to have any, and with species that would grow, the beneficial agricultural species that would grow in these areas, given the rain and the land, if any. And of course, there were lots of places where you couldn't have people, and there were places that were either too dry or too hot or too cold, or too much jungle, whatever the problem was. There was lots of places where you couldn't have people, not in large numbers, and not doing civilization. So, but all the places where people could be and could civilization and could do this. Watch this now. Pay attention. This part we have to pay attention. They could do all this off the daily energy from the sun. Daily energy from the sun. Now, I've mentioned that before on the channel, and this is absolutely critical. This is the answer. This is the key that opens the lock. This is reality. This is what's coming for us. When we not destroy the planet, when we were not so numerous that we were forced to live in deserts, and forced to live in forests, and forced to live on mountain tops, and forced to live above the Arctic Circle, when we were not so numerous that we had to go into places and figure out how to do things, we were about 250 people living off the power of the sun every single day. the sun, the grass. We put the animals on the grass. They grazed. We then took the animals, hooked up in front of a plow. We then tilled the soil, someplace besides where we were sharing the animals, obviously. But we tilled the soil. We were able to plant crops, have a surplus, put up the surplus in silos. We could build these settlements. We could have entire cultures based upon the surplus. We could do trade. Once there's two cities that are big and have a surplus of food, they can now trade. What are they trading? Well, specialties. You know, this city makes earthenware, jars, things, and this other city weaves wool into cloth, and so they trade. Right, and that's how global civilization came about. Our current global civilization is just that elevated to the next degree. That's it. We're not doing anything different than we did 8,000 years ago. We're just doing it on steroids. That's it. They did that on the sun. They did it on the daily power of the sun. The daily power of the sun to heat water, cause evaporation, causes transpiration, and then rain. The solar power moving water up into the hills. It comes down the creeks into the rivers. Then it's into the fertile delta, and you've got irrigation. That water came from the sun. It came from rain caused by the sun. Power caused by unequal heat of land surfaces. Of course, all the plants. And then, of course, you have to manage your fertilizers. You have to manage the animal waste and human waste and put it back into the land and all this manual labor, but all powered by sun. Either animal energy from pastures powered by the sun, rainfall powered by the sun, wind, storm system, other patterns powered by the sun, and ultimately human labor and thought and creativity, all powered by the sun. And on a steam planet powered by the sun, with no intervening technology on irrigation systems and hows and some things, metal work, minor things, cutting, okay, minor technologies, Stone Age technologies, if you prefer, on 250 million humans on this planet. Compare that to what we have now, where none of us, no people, practically, virtually no people, where 99.99% of the people do not live on the power of the sun. Okay, and I don't mean solar panels and wind farms. I mean they have animals on the pasture, and the animal them in the field, and the animal or they eat the products from the field, and they live in a house themselves from local material. That kind of person. Okay, that there are virtually nobody doing that. You'd have to go to rural India, rural China, parts of Africa to find people still doing it. And every day, the fewer people who are still doing it. They're moving into the cities. They're taking jobs. They're working in manufacturing. All got a cell phone. There's fewer people every single day doing that. Maybe there's 250 million people on the entire planet who are still doing like that. What is that? That's 2 or 3% of the current population of the world. That sounds about right. Yeah, maybe 2-3% of the population of the world, human population of the world, live on solar panel power. Lives on solar power inputs to solar power in the pasture with the rain, with winds, and nothing more. And then the rest of us are dependent on, wait for it, fossil fuels. Fossil fuels are going away. They are going away. They have to. They have to go away. And because I say so, because I'm a dirty hippie and I hate cars and I hate freedom, democracy. No. The fossil fuels are going away because they must. Why must they? Because the planet is getting hot. It's hot. And if we don't seize the opportunity to prevent that from getting worse, not that we can reverse it, by the way, we can just maybe simply, it's a big if, maybe we can prevent it from getting worse. Okay. If we don't seize that opportunity while we still can to prevent it from getting much worse, then the heat itself is going to kill us. It becomes a self-limiting problem. If people can't walk around on the surface of the earth anymore, then none of that other shit is going to happen. Last time we lived on power alone, the actual sun, in the actual sky, that thing up, and else. We were 250 million humans. So when we abandon fossil fuels, as we must, physics doesn't lie. You can't change that. talk innovating, talk about avoiding, talk about carbon drawdown, talk about all these other things, greening this and degrowing that. And you can talk about all these things if you want to. But the fact is, we're going to have to stop burning fossil fuels. That's it. Just have to stop. And whether we stop voluntarily or if someone forces us or nature itself forces us to stop, it doesn't even matter how we do it. We're going to have to do it. So therefore, we are going to do it. It's going to. It is. Period. That's it. Further discussion necessary. You have your opinion if you want to, but I'm just the math. Okay, I'm just looking at the physics. Oh, we survive. We are tigers in a zoo. We need someone to feed us and water us and take care of us and keep us out of harm's way. And takes fossil fuels. Without fossil fuels, those happen. So what's going to happen to humans? We could support 250 million humans on the Earth in all these major civilizational centers, right? You had the Aztecs and the Incas, and you had the Mesopotamia, and you had the ancient civilizations of the Far East and South Asia, and the Indian cultures, and the area coming into India. You had all these things going on. 250 people living off this. So what happens to us if we have to give up fossil fuels? Well, I guess we just go living on the sun. Well, I wonder what that looks like. Well, it looks like how it used to look in the Middle Ages. Kind of. So, I mean, maybe we have internet, maybe we have cell phones. So not exactly like the Middle Ages, but kind of like the Middle Ages, right? You had an ox, or lucky and wealthy enough to, and you had a plow, and you had an amount of land that was a lot of you, and you had your little thing around it, and you would go on that land, and you have your ox, and you plow the land, and you put the seeds on, and whether you're planting oats or barley or wheat, whatever it was, that would be your staple crop, and you harvest by hand, with a sickle, and all this kind of stuff, and you just lived off this. That was your work. That was your job. You took care of your animals, you took care of shelter, and when you had children of your own and they need shelter, maybe you built a shelter right off the backs. And then eventually, you die, you get buried, and someone in your family over your house, and people just living in the same place, doing the same thing generation after generation. You say, well, that kind of sucked. I don't know. They could do it without fossil fuel, and you're going to find out, my friend, that pretty soon you're going to have to be figuring out how to do things without fossil fuels. Not because I say so, but because physics says so. Physics says you're done, and now you're going to have to do things differently. The problem, when people living in the Middle Ages or earlier, all the way back to Mesopotamia, all around the planet, when they were living a pristine planet. And by the way, they knew how to do this. They knew how to yoke up an ox and how plow a furrow, and they knew how to seed stocks, and they knew how to manage animal, and they could tan leather to make the harnesses, and they could their own carpentry to repair their plow, and there was a blacksmith who could work metal, make the plowshares on the plow, the metal plowshare that goes on the plow. And they had all these specialties and all these people who knew how to do things, and they had a village, and the village had an identity, and everybody pulled together. And at harvest time, everybody came out to harvest, and then they put the grain in a silo. And then they had wheat, and they could all make flour. And there was someone who ground the flour, and then they passed it around the village, and people got as they gave. And they had it all figured out. They had to do these things. They had thousands of generations of people doing these things. There was no question how to do these things. Just the power of the sun and cooperation and animal labor, and a certain amount of selective breeding of plants and animals to get the kind of animal behavior they wanted. Low-level technology, Stone Age technology, you could do it. But the planet was pure. It was pure. There were no chemicals. There was no, the forests weren't completely cut down. You go to Europe now, you can't find a forest practically anywhere. Europe used to be covered, completely covered. Same thing in the Isles. The Isles of Britain used to be covered with forests. They cut down. What they do the wood? Well, they burned it, and they made steam. They made sailing, and they attacked the Spanish, and the Spanish sunk their ships. So they had to go cut more wood, more ships, and they don't have any forests. It got to be so bad that before the advent of metals, which of course is heavy industry, they started planting forests because they cut them all down for their sailings. They started replanting forests as a strategic thing to have wood, more ships. That was what they had done. They had done all their trees to build all the ships, and sank. So they had to scramble around and start planting. This was 300 years ago, 400 years ago. This was happening. We've already 400 years ago we fucking up. We're completely screwing up the planet. And now we think we're going to live on fossil fuel free solar power. Some of us might. Some of us might. About the rest. Well, we might get a 99% die-off, leaving alien humans on Earth. 99% sounds like, an extinction event. It's and if you're sitting around on your ass thinking, oh, we're all going to go extinct, boo-hoo. No, we're not. We're going to 99% die-off, and you are going to live through it. You're going to watch it. You're going to be traumatized for the entirety of your existence from having to do that. Yeah, the dead lucky ones. The dead lucky ones. The ones who survive it have to bear the burden of survival. And then have the challenge of reinventing village life, reinventing solar life. And I don't mean necessarily solar panels and wind farms. Yeah, it'd be nice if you could have that. That'd cool. Love to have electricity. Can you have the internet? Can you have something? I don't know. It'd be nice. Maybe we should have discussion. Maybe we should make sure that happens. But extinction? No. That's not going to happen. There's going to be a lot of people scrambling around trying to get their shit wired up tight. Extinction? No. That'd be the good news. Human extinction, that'd be good news. It has to suffer through this. No one has to urge on the other end, scrambling around, starving half time, trying to figure out how to feed themselves and clothe and shelter themselves. Yeah. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. Oh, by the way, and the planet is so hot you can't even stand on the street. Least of all, if you fall down, you'll cook before you can back up again. Yeah, there's that going on. Let's not forget that. All global heating for a reason, my friend. And that's, of course, what happens. We stop burning fossil fuels because we must, or because nature says, yeah, you're done. You're done. Here, have some 100-degree days. That didn't impress you. 170. How about 170 degrees Saudi Arabia? How's it going to work out with the oil fields? Will the machinery even work at 170 degrees? It's never been tested. No. My guess is it won't. And if it breaks, if something shorts out or something sees where a bearing goes bad or whatever, is there anybody going to go out there and fix it? 170 degrees? What? Wearing a spacesuit? What are you talking about? Yeah, nature can shut down. Real easy. Okay. Don't even try to explain to me how impossible that is. 170 degrees in Saudi Arabia. They're already hitting like 140. Never hear about it. Of course, you never hear it. But yeah, we could have the rug pulled right out of us. And then the fossil fuel's gone, and then the global economy implodes, and then modern agriculture, which is done on fossil fuels for every little thing that happens in the fields, that gets shut down, or just diminished. Maybe it'd be a 50% reduction, even just a 20% reduction in agricultural productivity, and then the heat itself causes the plants to fail. There are plants, C3 plants, that don't do well in the heat. They just shut down. It's not that they don't have enough water. Keep pouring water on them. It doesn't matter. Unless you're going to put under air conditioning, they shut down. The chemical pathway just break down. The proteins nature, it's done. They can't do their thing. They can't do the thing the plants do. The collecting the sun, and the making of the sugars, the storing of the things, and the putting on the leaves and the flowers and the plants and the fruits and the tubers, and they can't do it. They just break. They just give. I quit. Rage quit. Done. Throwing water and fertilizer, they just fall over that. It's over. They can't do it. Too hot. Failure of their biochemical pathways. They're done. So doesn't matter if some of your fossil fuels agriculture, the plants won't grow. They can't tolerate the heat. Now grow them in air conditioning, but that's even more energy to provide the air conditioning for the greenhouses. And how many people are you going to feed from greenhouses with air conditioning? Now down to 8,000 people that you can feed, maybe 80,000. It's a 5 nines reduction. 80,000 people eating from greenhouses on a surface Earth that is hot to stand on without a spacesuit. 8,000 people being fed from greenhouses is a 5 nines catastrophe. 99.999% annihilation of human life. 80,000 people left, feeding themselves through greenhouses, wearing spacesuits. That's global heating. That's where this is going. That's where we're going. And there is some discussion now that is inevitable. That is now a thing. That's the thing. I keep hearing it. I keep seeing the numbers. I keep seeing the papers being discussed, and it's like, yeah, well, this is we've been, and this is where we're going, and it's not looking good. Like, yeah, that doesn't look good, and I can't see any flaws with the logic. The data look good. I understand what you're saying, and there's an amount of uncertainty, but yeah, that's there. That's a thing, and we're not talking about a meteor. We're not talking about global nuclear war or the Black Death or anything that you're familiar with. Any one of which could be virtually impossible, and all happening at the same time, even more impossible than that, individually. And yet, a 5.9 reduction in human population, 5.9, 99.999%. I have to keep saying this over and over because it is absolutely insane. And yet, it may be inevitable, maybe in the cards. It may be cards. We used to be 250 million people on a perfect, all knowing exactly what to do, having done for hundreds of generations. And we are not ready for this. We are not ready for this. We can't cope. There is no coping mechanism for this. When the fossil fuels are gone, planet is hot, and the growing zones collapse, and there's nowhere to go, and there's no way to get there. Well, then, yeah, fines. Wow, okay, that's not extinction. That's not extinction. A 5.9's annihilation of the human population, 99.99% die, is not extinction. Not even close. That is not our problem. Extinction is not our problem. Near-term human extinction, yes or no? That is not our problem. That's a fantasy problem. That's something that people who would rather thought anything else except their real problem think about that. Your real problem is you have to get off of fossil fuels fast. And every day that you don't, the number of nines on that die-off goes up. We're buying into this. We are buying into this. As I say here right now. We're buying into this. We accepted this. That it's okay to have a 90% die-off. Oh, actually, it's already been determined it's acceptable to have a 99% die-off. And to be practical, it's acceptable, already been determined to have a 99.9% die-off, because a 99.9% die-off leaves you 8 million people. And did you know, you start thinking this if you want to, you start thinking about the ramifications of all this. People is all elites of the world. The wealthy people. They're going to be fine. They're not going anywhere. They're not going extinct. They're not going to be extirpated. Every single of those motherfuckers will survive. 8 million people. That's people. That's still 3 nines and 99.9% off. Still leaves 8 million people, and that completely encompasses the global elite. In fact, you can probably completely encompass the global elites in a 4.9 die-off. 99.99% leaves 80,000 people, and that's probably the global elites. That's the people who pull things, make the decision, buy and sell the stocks. That's probably that. 800,000 people, not anywhere near a bottleneck, not anywhere close to extinction. We'd love to have 800,000 elephants. We'd love to have 800,000 gorillas. After a 4 nines die off of the human species, you'll still have 800 of the global elite. And they'll be doing fine. They'll be doing great. They'll have fossil fuels they want. They'll have nobody that they look at and no one will be pointing the finger at them and saying, you did this to us because they're dead. They're going to be dead, and there's nobody pointing any fingers at anybody, and they got what they got what they wanted, survived. No action. They get to keep all the technology. They'll have cell phones. Oh, let me tell you, they will have they'll have internet. Probably even still have 800,000 of them will still have Amazon Prime delivery. I don't doubt. Private jets, private electric cars, living on mountaintops and shows. All their servants, all their slaves, if they want those, because you'll be really happy to be living in that house. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Whatever it takes, I'm going to be part of this. And you'll take your indentured servitude. You take your slavery. You'll be happy. You and your family, your little tiny family, for the master, up on his chalet on the top of the mountain. Yeah, you'll do that. And when it comes time to work in the fields, you'll put the suit on and you'll get out there. You'll work the fields. If they need you to do that, maybe with robots, they're probably going to have to because the surface is going to be too hot for habitation. Period. It's going to be intolerable. Yeah, that's what's coming. No, near human extinction. No, I don't even start to think. Don't even want. No, not happening. So ridiculous. But I could also ready to guarantee you numerically, numeric guarantee. This math people can do it on the back of an envelope. I can almost guarantee you a 99% die-off of the human species. I can all guarantee it. And that gets us back to 80 million people, comparable to where we were the last time we lived on solar power alone. The last time we lived without fossil fuels. 80 million is in the ballpark. A little low, but hey, that isn't even pristine anymore. And oh, by the way, it's going to get hot. We lived on a planet that was quite temperate, that was really friendly to our need habitation. And there weren't any very many places on the planet where you couldn't stand around and breathe the air. Well, now because of global heating, there could easily be lots of places on the planet that are fully habited right now that in 15 or 20 years you can't even breathe the air. It's so hot. That's probably inevitable. That's practically numerically certain. Human extinction, there's no defensible position there. Not happening. Nothing to worry about. But a 3 nines die-off of the human species, leaving only the elites in the last few places where you can still breathe the air because it's not too hot. Yeah, I can make a case for that. Just did. There might be 8 million people left. Maybe 80 million out at the top. Maybe 80 million tops. And doing it reasonably well. Provided you don't mind wearing a spacesuit if you're going to go outside. Yeah, I can see that. I could even say that's inevitable. There's a lot of talk on the internet that we are innovate our way out of this. That we will innovate and we will find a way to stop global heating. We will even find a way to reverse global heating, and we'll engage in something called euphemistically global cooling. We will cool it can freeze the ice. We'll cool glaciers and refreeze glaciers, and we will, we'll find ways to draw carbon out of the atmosphere, store it back in the ground. We'll pull it out of in the first place. We'll do all these things, and you'll talk about it. Might do it. But it's going to require fossil fuels to do it. And that's the thing you're not going to have. So no, you are not going to innovate. The innovation period will be done on a large scale. We can have small scale ones, but we won't large scale ones for a long time. One of the things I have to innovate to figure out how to do is how to live on a planet that is unhabitable because it's too fucking hot. And there's too much rain, and there's too much sleet, and then there's too much cold, and then there's too much flooding, and then there's too big of a hurricane, and there's too many hurricanes, there's too many tornadoes, and there's too much storm surge. We're seeing it all over the planet right now. It's apocalyptic, to borrow a term from the Bible. It's apocalyptic. What's happening just right now, and it's only going to get worse. And you think that there's a way to end that, and there's not. You're not innovating your way out of that. You'll make suits. You'll make suits that people can wear to walk around the surface. Thick insulated soles so it doesn't burn your feet. Reflective visors so that the heat of the sun doesn't come in and bake your. Ice packs on the back or small heat pumps to cool you, and can 800 million people have like that? I don't know. That's a 99% die-off. Maybe only 8 million. That's a 3 nines die-off. Maybe all get spacesuits. Maybe we'll get a chalet underground. We can live underground. Who knows? Don't know. That's the kind of innovation we're going to get. We're going to get that because we have that. Do we get direct air capture? Do we get direct air capture of carbon dioxide to put it back in the ground? I don't know. I don't really know about that. Maybe. How are you going to power that? Fossils? Oh yeah. Well, we know where that's going. Yeah. How do we do that? Maybe it's just back to space. Let's spacesuits. Let's innovate materials and small scale technologies that are portable, so that people can be on the surface of the earth without falling over dead, being baked. That's the kind of innovation I think we're going to be looking at. Rest of it, I don't know. But the prospects of near-term human extinction are zero. Zero. The prospects of a near-term human die-off, collapse, and extirpation on a regional basis is virtually 100%. And the nature of that die-off, the numerical extent of that die-off could be the entire planet, anywhere from some places as little as 90% die-off to as much as 99.9% die-off, depending on the region and then the amount of technology you have, the amount of resources you can lay on just to save yourself. Yeah, it could be that's that scenario. As outlandish as it seems to people, as thinkable as that seems, 99.9% die off in some regions. That's just can't even wrap your head around it. That is actually probably inevitable. Just basically inevitable. You're not going to be able to inhabit the Earth. You're going to have to have a spacesuit outside. And where's your crops coming from? You're going to come in greenhouses? Are you going to operate those? How are you going to do that? You're going to transport food when it's 150, 160 degrees outside. What vehicle will even move? And so who communities pull out your atlas, start looking around at the planet's surface. Which communities are going to have the right resources, money, technology, community mindedness, and able land? Which communities to pin in them are going to be able to have greenhouses and homes underground and suits, and so that they get a 5 nines die off. So they're only in the 99 category, so they can continue to do their thing, whatever that thing is, with modifications. Where the feed was whatever you grew in greenhouse that was refrigerated using public solar power or wind power, and that's your food supply. Your backyard, it's across the street, wherever it is. What communities even have a hope, a prayer pulling that off? Given political realities and denial, and the way we structure the fences, and the way that the brain bugs that people are fighting off all the time about what's important, what isn't, if any communities, anywhere, put one pin on one dot on one map, put a pin in the map, show me a community that can pull that off, even one that can pull off. And yet that is the challenge. That is 100% of your challenge right now. Right now, you got to figure that out. You got to figure out how you're going to raise food for human consumption when it's 150 degrees outside. That's your challenge. That is your actual challenge. That is physics. That is coming. That is already here in many cases. That is on the way. And you've got 10 years to figure that out. Maybe. I don't know. So near-term human extinction? No. That'd be probably the good news. The reality is, you got a lot of work to do. You got a lot of work to do. Figure it out.